All right, welcome to the first episode, I guess, of Nesbitt. I don't think we really have a name. Jake, did you
No.
have any ideas? I think we were trying to go with a few names. Side A, maybe. I like that one. We'll see. But this is our first episode of this podcast, and what we're trying to do here, we're live from the Hodge Park Studios and Art Studios, the multimedia studios of Mr. Eric Nesbitt here. And, well, we're not really live because by the time this gets around, I'm sure it's going to be maybe a week or two. So, but hopefully you guys can listen with us and enjoy what we do, which what we do is we're going to get together and we're going to talk a little bit about music here and there. We kind of want to dive into the deep collections and kind of see this is a brainchild of our gracious host, Mr. Eric Nesbitt here, and our good buddy Jake Turner. So what do you kind of want to accomplish with this, Nes?
Well, I think and you guys will probably agree with me on this one, is that a lot of classic rock in all kinds of different formats, whether it be classic rock, punk rock, metal, and whatever, there's a lot of forgotten music out there. And I think maybe it's just kind of like some of us responsibility is to keep people informed that don't forget about this stuff. And it's out there, and there's a lot of forgotten albums that people forget about, and there's a lot of good stuff out there and a lot of bad stuff out there, and it's just our responsibility, I think, as people who grew up with rock and roll, to keep it alive. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I kind of agree. There's like stuff here that most of us, even us sitting here, don't even really know about. So I think it's gonna be kind of fun to dig in and hear some new stuff.
Okay. Very good.
One second, while you never know what's going on with these studios. Just gonna make sure we can go off that. It's still recording, so that's good. Because I don't want any interruptions. I kind of want to get this going because I'm excited for this. And I think you guys picked some really good albums to start this off. The first thing we kind of wanted to accomplish here was trying to get this together, and I think it's really, really fun. I know I have a couple projects that I personally want to work on, but this is a good one because I'll get to learn a lot. I'm sure Nez and Jake and whoever else decides to come on will bring a lot to the table. So.
And we need to remind everybody that's going to listen to this is that we are not experts of anything, and we will miss things. And we feel like if you're going to listen to this thing, that it's going to be your responsibility to inform us of the things that we missed and not slam us like how we like to slam those retards on Saturday nights, the metal show on VH1 Classic, because they claim they know everything.
Maybe we can have the name be Not That Metal Show or something. I don't know. We might have to deal with some legal stuff. But no, we are not experts. I do not claim to know everything in the world about music. Maybe some good stuff on certain genres and bands, but no, we try. We are just fans of music, so that's why I think this will be enjoyable to a lot of people. So. If anybody ever has any suggestions, we'll get to that later, but we'd love to hear because of different things that we like to talk about. So,
and another big thing is like I've put on our Facebook, Quad City Music Lovers, collectors, and traders, is that if you want to participate in this, please contact us because we'd like to have another voice in this, in a rotating voice, so we could get through a lot of different genres, and we want to learn a lot as much as you want to learn a lot.
Sure. So, with that being said, I'm ready to dive into this because I think, Nez, you suggested a really good starting topic, which is conceptual albums. There are all kinds of concept albums out there, all kinds of different genres, even in rap and hip hop and metal and pop and all that stuff. But, like I said, we're digging from stuff that we personally like or have had an influence with, and I'm excited because I think you picked a good one, which we'll get to in a little bit. Everybody's got some good ones here, but personally, I'm going to kick us off with King Diamond. King Diamond's Them is his, I believe it's their third studio album as King Diamond, not as Merciful Fate, because they broke up before that. And they had already gone through one album, which I think one of them was possibly Abigail, and the other one was, I can't remember what the other one is, but this is their third album as King Diamond, and it's Them, and it's the first of two of a story that puts two CDs together. But the reason why I picked this one is because it's a little goofy because this came out in 1998 or 1988, excuse me, and I'm not gonna lie, that's the year I was born. But yes, you're feeling old now, aren't you? Are you feeling old? So it was the year I was born. But the way I came about this was Clerks 2. I don't know if you guys have seen that. You know, it actually kicks off the movie because Jay and Silent Bob, he's sitting there slam dancing to it, and you know, Grandma and all that stuff. So, and that's when I found out about it. I was like, what is this song? What is this music? Why is this part of this movie? And I looked into it and I found this I want to say this artist because, you know, kind of just digging up on him and learning about what he's done. It seems like he's such a showman. So, and when I kind of read about the albums, it's like, oh, he likes to tell a lot of stories here. So I went with this album called Them, and it was produced by King Diamond himself and another guy named Kenneth Hister, and it came out under Roadrunner Records, which I believe started in the 80s, I think.
Yes, it did.
You know that?
Yep.
So,
yes, it did.
So, you know, it was kind of interesting because that's a label that kind of sticks with metal and, you know, rock and stuff like that. So this spelled in perfect. So, like I said, I picked it because I was curious, and that's kind of how this came about. You know, we're curious about new things and learning new things. So you're learning, and they're learning, and I'm learning. So one of the things I did learn about this is the story was pretty great. Like I am in love with the story because I think this could be like a movie. Like you know, a lot of people write this for their music, but this could probably be like a pretty awesome kick-ass horror movie that could probably blow any of these other movies out of the water and whatnot. So, you know, I was fairly impressed with what I found out about it.
What was the synopsis of the story?
Okay, so a little bit of synopsis is it was basically kind of like a haunted house type deal. It starts off with this grandmother that is getting sent home from the hospital. She comes home and the character of King Diamond and his sister and his mother are, you know, gearing up for this return, you know, and it kind of dives into all the crazy events that take place, you know, with this return because it kind of the direction they took it was kind of like a descent into madness, like almost like you know, like a story from within, but you know, it was viewed from, you know, this view of, oh, we're gonna see these different things go on throughout this whole house, and it's based in a house, the house of Amon or Amon. Amon, yeah, House of Amon, and it just the story as a whole is strange, and I feel like it could be like translated well onto the screen because of what goes on. You know, it involves, you know, killing some characters and some antagonists that can't be seen. You know, possibly demons. So, yeah, I mean, it seemed like a good album for me to kind of go into because I like horror stuff anyways. So, you know, I was excited, and once I finally got, you know, I did my homework again, and I listened to the album, and I found out they ended up doing a remaster, not, you know, a while back, and they released, you know, three bonus tracks, but, you know, two of them were rehearsals, so that was cool to kind of hear because, yeah, when you run into the discs that have the extra stuff like that, that's pretty neat, you know, different cuts of stuff. And as I know, you know, personally that you like to get bootlegs and stuff and all kinds of different albums that have maybe alternate takes of stuff. So that was kind of neat to hear.
You know, as you're talking about this, I remember in the 80s watching that Headbangers Ball on MTV. And if I remember right, there was videos from this album on there.
Yeah.
And I could never ever focus in on the music because of the bizarre video and just the presence of King Diamond and the over the top commercial Satanism that King Diamond, well, what he liked to portray because he was on Geraldo Rivera when Geraldo Rivera tried to do that, you know, the satanic in heavy metal and whatever. So, you know, I could never ever wrap my head around King Diamond's music at that time because of the bizarre video and just the bizarre look of King Diamond. And the rest of the guys in his band looked normal metal
yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
He's got
long
the
hair.
upside down cross and stuff on his
Yeah,
forehead.
everything was
Yeah.
painted up, upside down crosses, and remember the upside down skull and crossbones
Yeah.
on his microphone and whatever
So
else.
does that take away from the music then? You think? Do you feel that
It
does?
could. I mean, it has with other people too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look all the focus Manson got.
Yeah.
You know, it just, I don't know. It can. I mean, you just said right there that you, instead of paying attention to music, you're just so
Into the character.
yeah.
But I don't know if that was a good thing or not, because I can't really honestly tell you that I was never a King Diamond fan at that
Right.
time.
Yeah.
But I was like going, in my mind, I'm going, what is this?
Right.
What are we doing here? I mean, is this music or we?
Well, he kind of got like, you say he's on Headbangers Ball. You just didn't really have a place, like a home. Like there's no other
Yeah.
really music that kind of, and you had that insanely high register that
Yeah.
nobody else really kind of hit. I mean, Halford can every once in a while, but
Yeah.
but he still got it though too.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, you're right, was them not being able to have like that platform because this is the '80s when the stuff was the disco was dying out, the new wave was picking up, all kinds of different things, hip hop was picking up and all that. So there really wasn't a place for metal. Just kind of like there is like now, people think that there's not a place for metal, but it's more accepted with a lot of people.
Yeah.
My thing is with his vocal range or whatever else. Was that was he trying to show us a falsetto or something
Almost,
like that?
he almost had to. Yeah, that's how. I mean, he got up high.
Yeah, really high.
And he still can hit it too. Like I think that's just amazing.
And but here's the reason why I preferred, before we start you going into more in depth about the album, was
Yeah.
that the King Diamond Merciful Fate stuff was totally different
Oh, yeah.
than King
Yeah.
Diamond solo, because he wasn't always going up to that falsetto
yeah,
octave or
yeah.
whatever he was doing.
Yeah,
So.
and just to kind of like get an idea of what I was going into with that, I did listen to Merciful Fate a little bit. I can't remember. I think it was like the last album before they broke up, but or it might have been their first album. I can't remember. It was orange and it had the person with horns on it. I can't
You're
remember.
right.
But
That's
Yep.
what I mean, that's
yeah,
not-
it is. We'll probably think about it later. But just to kind of get an idea of the difference of what King Diamond was and what Merciful Fate was, and there was a pretty significant difference, but. At the end of the day, it was him on vocals, and he did still hit that stuff, but not as much as he did with the King Diamond stuff. So he definitely got into it more of a show and kind of a showman type quality with King Diamond. So he probably was excited to get to do that. So and it kind of led to a nice run, and he still tours with under the King Diamond banner, and it led to plenty of other albums. Like I said, this is the first of a two-part story that ended up being another disc called Conspiracy. It was a sequel, which kind of continued the story of King Diamond's character as an adult, trying to figure out the events of what happened throughout this first one, and kind of closing the story. So and that, even then, the sequel, if that were a movie, I'd pay to see it, just because, like I said, the story was so, to me, it seems very original, and just kind of like, you can always see haunted house movies, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is a pretty interesting take on it from a guy's mind. So.
And this was on Roadrunner Records, right?
Yeah. And
Wasn't Roadrunner Records back in the day? Wasn't more of a punk rock label?
No, they had like Sepultura and stuff on there.
Did
didn't
they really?
like,
Okay, I wasn't.
think
I'm not-
Typo Negative or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it ended up having like they did some Slipknot stuff too,
Yeah,
right?
I
The first
think
Slipknot
so.
record.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think so. So they were more focused with heavier stuff. So, and then just, but anyways, back to the albums. Like, this is just stuff as I grew up and was able to discover. I was kind of happy to hear, and just kind of, I know what it is. I'm going into it knowing what it is. I thought it was just a funny scene in a movie. No, it was actually, it led into a whole story that not a lot of people probably know about, and I just think that was cool. And I guess it ended up being on a video game too. It was on Brutal Legend. It's like, I think it was like Jack Black came out with it. I think you could use the peripherals, like you do in Rock Band, and
Oh, okay.
Guitar Hero, and I think for that game you could use the guitar. And I think it looks like
Was that a fairly new game?
it came out like in 2009 or something.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I didn't play it too much just because everything was starting to phase out. I like music games, but I don't know why it didn't hold up. But yeah, it was on that. And like I said, it was in the movie Clerks too, like in the beginning when he's moshing out, and I guess they used some lyrics from Invisible Guest, the song Invisible Guest, to freak out the weird Jesus loving kid. So and I think he ended up what had happened was they were doing the lyrics and he freaked out. He's like, "Quit! You know I don't like to talk about Satan," and he runs off and he falls back. It was great. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a good movie. I think you should check it out.
But the premises of this album was not necessarily it was just about more of a haunted house than it had anything to do with any type of commercial Satanism, which
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't any of that stuff. It was mainly the story of what the his influence was over his family and what essentially happened. His sister died through the album. His sister figured out what was going on with the spirits and his grandma, and they tried to kill his mom, but she's like, I'm gonna break this teapot that the magical tea is what is a big key. Yeah, it really was. So and that was a part of it. So when they get to the big climax, I'm gonna figure out what's going on, and I'm gonna break your tea kettle, and ends up breaking it while the spirits, manifest, and then they end up killing her and chopping her up and throwing into her fireplace. So it is this story. It really is, and
It's awesome.
it does have some satanic undertones to it.
but nothing like we worship Satan, blah blah blah. No, not as deep as that, but yes.
But human sacrifice.
Yeah, it
type
was
stuff,
it was very dark, and it's a good story, and like I said, it bridges into a sequel, which is a great listen too. So that's what I brought, and I'm excited. I don't physically have it, but I do want to get it because I guess last year they released it on a 180 gram vinyl,
Sweet.
a white vinyl. So and vinyls are making a comeback. And that's kind of nice to see. But yeah, I do want to pick that up, and I think everybody should at least give it a try. If you like stories, if you like to have a creative mind, I think King Diamond's Them is a good album to kind of go off of and give it a listen at least. Maybe you can pop it in.
Well, those people that like that horror metal type
Yeah.
stuff, because it seems like it's a dying breed out there.
Yeah, there ain't really much lost.
Possibly.
And that's pretty entertaining to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, like I said, I like it. I like horror stuff, so I mean, to me, I dug it a lot. And the more stuff I got to read up on him, there's a bunch of. I guess they did a sequel to Abigail and stuff like that. So but that's for a later date. But I enjoyed this album fairly well, and I think it's a good listen for a lot of people. So
cool.
But I mean, like I said, just kind of the basis of what we want to do here is with this concept albums, and like I said, we could have guests on here sometimes, and maybe they'll bring in different ideas and stuff. But what I like about this is that I get to learn a lot about different stuff that I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna hand it off here to Jake here in a second because I did not know that Warrant had kind of a concept album.
Most people don't know Warrant had more than 2 records.
Yeah. So what do we got?
And now we're really
Yes.
switching it up. We're going
Yeah.
from King Diamond to Warrant.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing Belly to Belly, which came out in '96. This is about the band going from nothing to the cherry pie stuff. They got super huge and they were everywhere, and then down to nothing after when grunge came in and just wiped all that crap off the map.
Yeah.
It kind of started like, for most people like that don't know anything, like the cherry pie record that they did was done, and it was called Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Yes.
And then the record label came in and said, we want like a Love in the Elevator type of song. So Jenny wrote like cherry pie like in 5 minutes,
Oh.
and it became what he was ended up being known for forever, like the cherry pie guy. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
Which
So-
is too bad because
which
the
is-
first album was really good.
The first record was
For
really
what
good.
it was.
Yeah, and the third record was all original members, was really good too. It was a lot more heavier. Like all the glam stuff was gone. And so after that, third record flopped because that's when like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, all that stuff came in.
Yeah. People were needing it.
Yeah, they all it all goes in repetitive. It all comes in and goes out. So when this record came out, I didn't really know anything about it because I bought like they had a live disc and it had some of these songs on there, so I had to go find it. And I bought it and listened to it, and it's nothing like anything like Warrant. Like if I didn't tell you who it was and put it in, you wouldn't be able to tell who the hell it was. It's kind of like it's just different. It's a lot more heavier. A lot of the songs, like I said, are about that whole like rise and fall thing.
Yeah.
They have a song called AYM, which stands for Angry Young Man, and it's about grunge, and it's just about like just how like they're like hating the world and like the world's such a drag and stuff like this, and how they're angry, but they're making millions of dollars off of it.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of cool, and obviously everybody knows Janie like had his obviously he died of alcohol, and there was a song in there about like just how like he just kind of got completely consumed by the whole thing of like becoming a huge failure and like being being the butt of everybody's joke, being the cherry pie guy.
Yeah.
And it kind of like one of the songs was just like it's almost sad because he's like just basically putting all out there like he's just done with life and shit. You know, it was really good. And so I don't know, like I think it's their best record they ever did.
Really?
Yeah, I think they got better with every record. The first record was good because it was different. Second record, honestly, I think Cherry Pie is terrible. I do.
Okay, so help me out.
Okay.
So after Janie leaves Warrant, they do the Saints of the Underground, or did he do a solo thing?
He did a solo disc, which is amazing.
Okay, so I own Saints of the Underground.
Oh, you do?
Okay, so is it a lot similar to this because Saints of the Underground it was in a totally different type of sound?
In a sense, yeah, but no, this is more like almost. In a sense, it's kind of funny. It's almost kind of grungy. It's got like, but then they're like the ballads are really ballady. You know, like really like slow and like there's a lot of stuff about. There's a couple songs about his divorce after the whole Cherry Pie thing went down. Like, you know, you lose the money, the lady walks away, you know.
Right.
There's a couple songs about that. Explain to him there's a couple songs about just Janie being really depressed. Obviously, you know, like everybody knows he had the alcohol addiction.
Right.
That ended up killing him. So I had that in there. There's a couple songs about like what people like. There's a song called Room with a View, where it's like what people think it's like to be huge, you know, and have like all this money and all this, just like living a high life when he's really like it really sucks.
Yeah.
Basically, is what it gets down to. This, I think, is like I said. I think it's their best record. It's nothing like Cherry Pie and stuff. More along the lines of Saints of the Underground. If you had to compare between Cherry Pie and Saints of the Underground, which I think Saints of the Underground is an awesome record as well.
It is awesome.
Now, is that the name of the album, or is that the other band?
It was named the album and the band.
Saints of the Underground was basically a super group.
Yeah, it had two guys from Rat, and then Kerry Kelly, who ended up writing a lot of songs with Janie.
Oh, okay.
And Kerry Kelly also was the lead guitar player on tour with Alice Cooper for years.
They actually wrote a song on Alice Cooper's record.
Right.
Did they?
Welcome to My
So,
Nightmare.
but okay, so when we had to see Janie go through that celebrity fitness challenge or whatever
when
else,
he was all drunk and
Oh,
stuff.
he was on it,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
so
I do
this was
remember that.
after that happened after this album, right? 'Cause
No, this is '96.
Okay.
So all that stuff happened
Right,
like
okay.
2000, early
Yeah.
2000s and
Right.
stuff. This was '96, and then after this, he just disappeared. He did like solo shows, like just like Janie Lane of Warrant type of thing, because Warrant was dead after this
Right.
until they did those reunion shows. That's when he was like falling off the stage, and
Right.
they kicked him out again, and that was that.
Okay,
Like,
so
because he was drunk and stuff?
Oh, you can look up videos from him. I can't even remember. Dallas, maybe,
I'm going to have to check those out. Yeah.
where like there's interviews from the bass player, which is the only other guy that's played on every single Warrant record, where he thought he was going to die on stage. Like he was mumbling words, like trying to sing. Like he had like the spot on the side of the stage where there's like a handrail where you could hold on to, and he just would sing from there.
Oh, man.
It was sad,
Yeah,
dude.
that
It was
does
really,
sound-
really sad to watch.
Really?
well, it's kind of funny that you say that because my brother, because he works in the medical field, selling medical supplies, knew a guy down in Peoria. He was a record producer down in Peoria, and he brought all these guys from the '80s to make a compilation record in a studio. And Janie Lane was one of them that came to Peoria.
Oh, Liberty and Justice stuff.
Is that who it is? I'm not quite sure.
He the last song he ever recorded was for the band Liberty and Justice.
Yeah.
They always bring in all these like '80s guys, like
Down in
CJ.
Peoria.
Yeah, CJ Snare from Firehouse always plays on their records. The last song he ever recorded was a song called Sin, which
okay.
is on the last record that they did. They always do guest vocals for all these '80s guys, like a couple of dudes from Stryper, I think, played on a couple of them. Liberty and Justice is really good too.
And that's kind of funny too because due to the Janie Lane alcoholism type thing, he was down in Peoria recording a song or two songs or whatever else. One of the bodyguards that was employed to protect these old '80s hair band celebrities
Yeah.
would go and protect these guys. Well, Janie Lane went to a local bar down in Peoria, and they couldn't get him out, so the bodyguard comes in to get him, and I guess he's a MMA guy or whatever, and he taps Janie on the shoulder, like, "Hey, it's time to go. You got to get out of here because you got to record tomorrow." Janie's sitting on his bar stool, punches the guy square in the face as hard as he possibly could, and it doesn't knock the guy down or
Right.
anything, and the guy doesn't do anything back, and Janie says to him, "I'm totally scared of you right now because I hit you and you did nothing back to me." And I guess it was kind of like a story of inner strength not to fight back,
Right. Right.
But that's how bad of shape that guy is,
Well,
mentally in.
I have a buddy who actually was in California one time and like ran into him, like, because Jane used to just hang out, ran into him and he started talking to him and they hung out in his apartment and just bullshit about music, and because he played at when Banana Joe's was still around.
Yes.
He did a show there.
Yes,
And I
that's
guess
right.
and it was just him hanging out playing like whatever song, like the people just shout out songs. He didn't play them, play cover songs. They just had fun.
Yeah.
Which was kind of sad to see because he was like when he was sober, he was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he did a tour with Great White, which was I thought he was amazing on that too. And there's videos of that. But this record, it's you can almost foreshadow seeing him kind of
Like the decline.
the decline. There's a song called "Falling Down" where it's just like you can take like the lyric like right during the right in the bridge. It just kind of ends it all right there. I mean, you can once you read that, you're like, that's it. That's what's going to happen, And it's really a shame because most people haven't heard this. Mm-hmm. Most people haven't heard a record before it, which is really good too. And all I know him as far is that Cherry Pie guy.
Yeah.
And I think it's a damn shame because he wrote some really good stuff. He wrote songs for like No Doubt,
Really?
stuff like that. And he wrote a song for Alice Cooper. He has a solo disc. I think that is probably the best like poppy stuff that has ever been done. Like a lot of it's about relationships and stuff, but it's all really good. He was a really good songwriter. Mm-hmm. He did all the song, like he wrote music, lyrics for all the Warrant stuff.
Yeah.
He had like 3 or 4 songs done before Warrant was even like before they did Dirty Rotten. He had having Dirty Rotten and Down Boys written like 3 years before Warrant even formed, and that's how he got the job to be in Warrant. So I mean, this record is, I don't know, it's kind of cool to kind of see like how he kind of explains how it's cool to be rich.
Yeah.
But then like there's a song called Feels Good. It's about like being free from like record labels. Like when they did this record, they had no. You have to write a song like this.
Yeah.
You have to write Cherry Pie.
That was structure, like this.
They just did what they wanted to do.
Gotcha.
And I think that's where most bands get their best best songs out of. They have creative control over what they did.
Now, is this an independent release or was it under a label?
It was on CMC, I think.
Okay.
CMC International. Never heard of it.
So probably not like a big label.
No. They put out the one before that one too. I think it was on the one before it called Ultraphobic.
Okay.
And they did that one too. And it's just a completely different band. Like I was telling Nez earlier, if I were to throw it in and like not tell you who it was, you would probably think it's great. But then you like put the Warrant tag on it, and you're like, oh,
Yeah. Like,
it's a Cherry Pie.
Well, that's really kind of funny that you say that too, because I'm dating myself in my age, obviously. But when Dirty Rotten Filthy Stinkin' Rich came out, that was their first release, and I think that was 1989, 88.
Yeah,
80,
right during that big, huge.
Right, and then Skid Row's, that they both came out at the same time, their title album or whatever. But the thing was that Dirty Rotten Filthy Stinkin' Rich was well received, and it had decent songs on it. They were hair band, but they had decent enough songs on it. And then the Cherry Pie thing came out,
And that's what destroyed them.
And then they never recovered from that. And I remember I was in my freshman year at Blackhawk, and that Cherry Pie came out in 1990, the August or September of 1990. And at that time I was, I'm 18 years old, going on 19 years old. My whole high school career was the hair stuff. I mean, from 1985 to 1990, and then I was 8th grader to graduating from high school, I was over the hair stuff.
Right.
And I started going up to the Rock Island Co-op when that was still there, and Greg Thompson, who I met up there, explored me to all the other things. So I remember this guy bringing in to class at Blackhawk. He just went out and got the new Warrant Cherry Pie thing. I was like going, you got to be kidding me, right? I mean, they went from Dirty Rotten Filthy Stinkin' Rich to this crap.
And it wasn't even what they wanted to do, too.
Yeah, exactly.
that Cherry Pie song wouldn't even exist. The album was called Uncle Tom's Cabin. It was done. Like, it was ready to go. And then, like I said, the record guy's like, I want this kind of song.
Now, do you think that's, like, something that, like, were they really that, kind of upset about, or did they kind of take it and enjoy it when it happened? And
Well,
then,
I mean, you can't.
A lot of pussy came from
Well,
that
yeah,
album.
right.
sure
Well,
did.
yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like it's a double-edged sword.
yeah,
That album did great for them. They got to see the world for it, and they got to do all that stuff. But like Janie said, like he's known as a Cherry Pie guy. Well, was known as a Cherry Pie guy.
Yeah.
That's all he's gonna be known for. And he wrote so many great tunes, like all that Saints Underground stuff. Amazing songs.
Yeah.
Amazing songs.
but
Nobody knows of it.
Yeah.
You got the few people like diehard Rat fans. Picked it up. I picked it up because I love Janie's songwriting.
yeah,
And probably 2,000 people probably own that CD, and that's a very gracious number.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But like, if they didn't have that Cherry Pie song, it probably wouldn't have got huge. Obviously, to the point they were. So maybe we would have heard like this stuff.
yeah.
So I guess for me, it's a little bit different. But I mean,
Well, and here's my take on it. Is like here it is. The Cherry Pie thing comes out, and then I knew right then and there, at that time, I was never gonna take Janie Lane serious ever again, or Warrant,
right?
and I was never gonna take hair metal for the most part ever serious ever again, because it's got to this point now.
Where it was just commercialized, anything and everything that.
Right.
I mean, is like who's got the bigger hair, who can write the best ballad.
Yeah.
And it was just factory output.
I mean, it went from me from I was a guy that was listening to Motley Crue, Girls, Girls, Girls.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, like, I want nothing to do with this music anymore after it got so over the top.
Yeah. And then you go from the furthest thing from it.
Right. I went from listening to then all of a sudden now I'm listening to Black Flag My War.
Right. Right.
Then I'm like, I totally want nothing to do with the hair stuff.
Yep.
So
And I think that's what everybody did though too. That MTV did it. That's what
right, and that's unfortunate because then I alienated myself from a lot of good stuff that came out,
and I
because I could never take it seriously.
Yeah, because I think a lot of stuff, like a lot of hair bands like that, I think they wrote their best stuff after the hair stuff, like after the big '80s thing. Like I said, I think Warren got better with every record, minus Cherry Pie.
Yeah.
Because after Cherry Pie, they had Dog Eat Dog, which was a great record that nobody heard. Then they did Ultraphobic, which has some really, really good stuff on it. And then they did this, and I think it's their best record.
Now, on the Cherry Pie album, I know we're kind of getting away from this one, but help me out. They did do an Uncle Tom's Cabin song,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
on there?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yep. Yeah, that was like their. I think that was the lead-off single actually.
Okay.
So yeah, they did. That,
So maybe he was himself was the angry young man because he that's what he was realizing he was so
yeah, that song's really great too. There's not really a clunker on there, honestly. Well, for me, I mean, I was actually listening to. It's been in my car for like the last 2 weeks. That's why I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going with this one.
yeah,
Is this a Ragged Records find?
Yes, it is.
I could tell by
I was gonna say,
Bob Harrington's handwriting.
Yeah,
out of print.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, which sucks. It's out of print.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, you can find anything on YouTube. So
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
YouTube and then eBay if you really look. So.
yeah. Well, I got another copy. It's got Janie's autograph on it. But
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Scroll that.
Well, I mean that's just the kind of stuff that I think we like to talk about here. So I mean, I know you're not a fan of Nez about getting discs signed and whatnot, but I am. So that's pretty. That would be an awesome find now.
Well, my theory on autograph CDs is that I like to keep my stuff as pristine as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So I do have some autographed. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm more a fan of having it,
Right.
from the company in the shrink wrap, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, but I think Jake, you were probably like, yes, I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
this.
like,
So
yeah.
it's
As soon as I
probably awesome.
found out, I was like, yeah, I'm getting that.
Yeah, that's fine,
it's just one of those things.
So.
But
Well, I mean, I'm definitely gonna give it a try. I'm gonna listen to it. 'Cause
try it out
it's-
seriously.
it's gonna be
I'm
good.
telling you, just don't put if you don't have a name. Kind of like with the whole Motley Crue self-titled record. If it doesn't have a name on it, like that Motley Crue record probably would have done huge if it was titled something else.
Yeah.
Right.
That
Exactly.
I think this would have been huge too if it was like they gave the whole band a different name, and I think that's why they did the Warrant '96. Is technically Warrant '96 is what the name of the band is.
So my mind is completely like, oh, there's more than Cherry Pie now.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
because I'm a young guy, so I didn't get a chance to check it out. So.
Exactly. Well, like I said, I didn't know about it either until I bought the live record and I saw these songs I didn't know.
Yeah.
So you open up the booklet and it's got like these songs come from each record. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
So-
oh, there's more.
So there is more than just a Cherry Pie song. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty thrilled with that.
Yep.
Well, and I'm the oldest out of you guys, and that what I can remember is Dirty Rotten, because it had some hits on there. And then the Cherry Pie thing came out, And then I remember not real well the dog eat dog thing because nothing came out of it.
Yeah, there was like 2 songs, but those songs were really great too.
Mm-hmm.
It was good stuff.
Well, that's just that excites me. But I don't know how they match up against your guys. I've been curious about how this one's gonna go. So what do you got for us? Because I'm looking at the paint right now, and it's just like, oh, here we go. We got a good one. So
Well, I'm going to we're going to discuss Kiss's music from the Elder, and we're going to get a whole lot of booze out of this one. But the reason why I picked this one, not necessarily it was because it was a great album, it was because of all the critical play that was in this album, from the members of the band to the technical side of it, and the commercial response from everything. So basically, okay, here's the thing, is like, what do you guys know about music from the Elder? I mean, what do you know?
I don't know anything because I didn't even know it existed, to be honest.
I just know that was like the least received Kiss record.
Okay.
Pretty much. I mean, and then of course all the drama that goes behind it, of like who played on the record, who really didn't play on the record, stuff like that.
Okay, well, let's just kind of discuss the things that we do know about music from the Elder, okay? First of all, number one, we know that this was the first album release from Kiss that Peter Criss's name, nothing was on this album.
Right.
Okay, that's one thing we do know. This is Eric Carr, the Fox. This is his first album on here. Okay, other thing that we know is that this was the first Kiss album that didn't have any images of Kiss on it.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys had realized that or not.
No,
did,
it makes sense though.
Okay, so
Nothing in the booklet or anything, or
there was nothing. There was when this came out on vinyl, it was I believe it was a trifold open up, and it shows a table and a candle in the middle of it. Kind of looks like a medieval type setting or whatever. So let's dig a little deeper here on what got Kiss to this point, because this is a concept album, and this was supposedly, we had heard through the whims back in the late 80s and early 90s that possibly that this was going to be coincide with a movie. Like possibly might have like an Excalibur type feel to it, Knights of the Round Table type thing. That never came to fruition. But what we do know is that the release before Music from the Elder, Kiss came out with an album called Unmasked. And at that time, Peter Criss was plastered all over that album, but Peter Criss himself, the drummer, never played a lick on that album.
Really?
He was basically already out of the band. They used his image, they used his name on it. He was in that Shandy music video, but he was never played a lick of drums on that. And it just so happened that Anton Fig was the drummer on that album. So Anton Fig was actually a drummer for Kiss for that album. Anton Fig, I believe, was the drummer for, I don't know if it was David Letterman or if it was a late night. And he's been also a studio musician through the years, and he also toured with Joe Bonamassa as of recently, him and his son. So Peter Criss leaves Kiss basically in the Unmasked thing, although they used his image. He even did the video. Eric Carr comes in to play drums. Well, the story behind Unmasked was Kiss decided to go pop. Right. Everything on that album was supposed to be pop friendly for the radio stations, top 40 type music. Total backlash from all the fans. They think Kiss is soft. They don't think the Kiss has any balls anymore. There's nothing to Kiss anymore. So Kiss is kind of scrambling, because before Unmasked, remember, it was Dynasty, and Dynasty was supposedly the disco album of Kiss. Okay, so Kiss is scrambling right now. So they haven't toured the U.S. in a while. They are actually over in like New Zealand and Australia because they're at their high point over there. Meanwhile, in the United States, commercialization of Kiss, people are sick and tired of seeing Gene Simmons' face on a lunchbox.
Yeah.
Right.
All the things on a thermos. Everything, the Kiss radio, the Kiss dolls. I mean, we can go slippers, we can go,
caskets.
Everything. Right.
The caskets.
So Kiss is scrambling to try to find identity. Basically, that's what they're trying to do here. So what we find out is they tell their Kiss Army, their fan club, that they're going to come out with a hard-hitting album, and it's going to be hard-hitting from the time the album starts to the time it ends. Well, things kind of change. They have a manager named Bill Aucoin they decide to employ Bob Ezrin to be the producer of this album. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bob Ezrin, but Bob Ezrin was the producer for Pink Floyd The Wall.
Oh.
Now, that leads us into another thing: is Bob Ezrin is the producer of and probably main engineer on this album, not knowing Bob Ezrin has a major cocaine issue. Okay,
Yes.
he's self-proclaimed that during the process of making this album, he is fully 100% addicted to cocaine.
Wow.
Okay, so we'll come back to that later. But basically, where we're at right now is that there's 3 original members left. We have Gene, we have Paul, we have Ace. They're recording in 3 different places: Toronto, New York City, and I believe it's Ace Frehley's home studio somewhere in Connecticut, as I can't find it on my notes now. But as things start changing, Bob Ezrin wants to employ a symphony to play parts in this, which we have plenty of symphonic parts on here. He also employs the St. Robert's Choir from New York and the American Symphony Orchestra to play parts on here, to play on this story of this album. So with this, Ace becomes more disillusioned by this process all the time. So I guess what we see in this is they end up taking a good portion of Ace's solos from this album out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Completely leave them out. They keep playing it down as to a storyline, an easy to the ear storyline.
Right.
Any questions so far, John?
Like,
on this?
well, so I wonder if he knew that, if Ace knew that they took it out. I mean, I'm sure at some point they had to tell him, but like, do you think initially they were going to be like, oh, we got to take this out, or did they know maybe we're going to take this stuff out because it doesn't make a lot of sense?
And that's a good question, because Ace had cited in here is that Ace Kiss is a 3-person ownership. Okay, Eric Carr is just an employee now,
Right.
a paid employee. Now they're going by vote, by 3 guys. Do we do this? He's voted out every single time.
Yeah.
Paul and Gene are saying, yes, we're going to do this. Well, you don't like it, tough, you're voted out.
Right.
So Ace, his contributions to this album become less and less and less. Yeah. They bring studio help in order to record this album.
Gotcha.
So, as he, disagreed with the band's decisions to abandon their original plan, to make this a rock and roll album, he just kind of faded away in this.
This is Ace?
Yes, this is Ace doing this. So, and like I said, this was basically Kiss is a trio of ownership. Mm-hmm. They're no longer a 4-person ownership of the name. So, I got a lot more to cover on this, but you guys want to take off anything from this right now?
Well, I mean, what I'm curious about is what's the story? What is the story? If you want to kind of get to that. I mean,
Well, what we can basically say is that, okay, I'm going to read this verbatim on the notes here, is that the plot of The Elder involves the recruitment and training of a young hero. This sounds very Star Wars-like,
yeah,
okay?
I was going to say, before you say that, I was going to say maybe they should have just hired John Williams for all this.
Yeah, okay.
So go ahead.
And again, the hero is the boy,
Okay.
Luke Skywalker, okay?
Yeah.
By the Council of Elders, the Jedi, okay, who belong to the Order of the Rose. I guess that would be the Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Okay, a mysterious group dedicated combating evil. The boy is guided by an elderly caretaker. Who would that be?
The Elder?
Yeah,
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, right.
Obi-Wan.
Named Morpheus.
Wait a second. Are we talking about Star Wars or are we talking about The Matrix here?
Yeah, exactly. The album lyrics describe the boy's feelings during his journey and training as he overcomes early doubts to become a confident and self-assured. The only spoken dialogue is the end of the last tract, which it is spoken. During the passage, Morpheus proclaims to the elders the boy is ready to undertake his odyssey. So is that basically fighting...
Training to fight evil.
Yes, right.
Okay.
It sounds very Star Wars-ish.
Yeah.
Kind of your basic outline of a regular hero story.
Right.
So and that's the story of it. And then we're thinking in the 80s at the time. You have to admit. I mean, when this came out, I'm like 9 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
It was. But the rumors keep on building up. It's like there's going to be more to this. There's going to be more to it. They're going to come out with a movie to this, and this is going to be the soundtrack to the movie, and then all of a sudden it dies off and you never hear about it again, and it becomes a buried album. It's not even, you can't even buy it anymore. It's they don't even re-release it, no nothing.
Right.
You can find it in Japan on a Japanese release, but you can't find it anymore.
Right. Because like even when they did the Kiss they released almost the whole catalog except for
Right,
that
and
one.
they did end up releasing this.
But it's not like they did it like often, you know, like they'll release.
Well,
live,
they did a whole like back catalog release. It's called the Kiss Remasters. They didn't have any bonus cuts on any of them, which I thought was weird. But they did the whole catalog, and I don't think that was part of it, was it? The Elder?
I'm not quite sure.
I mean, they even did like the solo records and everything. They re-released, gave like new artwork and stuff like that. But
Yeah, maybe they just decided to keep it. We'll release another Kiss, set here down the line.
Yeah.
Well, here's the
Very
thing:
possible.
is that the reception, to this album was so bad that the business manager at the time, his name was Howard Marks, he refused to allow his company name to be anywhere in print on this album. Okay, so because it was like, what this is not Kiss,
Right.
And then the album quickly disappeared from the charts in February 1982. Obviously, it was on the charts because it was Kiss for a little while. It disappeared. I mean,
Right.
it was like one of those kind of things where you just never even in the late 80s, you didn't even know the album existed. They buried that thing so far
Right.
that you could never see it. And so then. Since the reception was so bad to it, they decided not to tour on it. There was no touring under this album at all, except they played a couple of TV appearances. And the only public appearances the band made in conjunction with this album was on January 15th, an appearance of a late-night variety show, Fridays, they performed A World Without Heroes, I and the Oath, and they played on Solid Gold. I don't know if you guys remember Solid Gold. Solid Gold. They played World Without Heroes and I. And they said also in January 28th, they lip-synced a performance of I from Studio 54,
Oh, cool.
There you go.
broadcast via satellite to the San Remo Festival in Italy. So there was no touring of any type on here. It was just...
So nothing at all except for a few small appearances.
Right, exactly.
And Fridays. It's not like Fridays was the show. Well, hold on a sec. I'll take that back because that was pretty popular, right? That show, Fridays.
I vaguely remember it.
I think what it was is like it was like they were just trying to be Saturday Night Live. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but anyway, so nothing but small appearances for this support for the music from the Elders.
Right, and the thing is that not only for the longest time they claimed that this album only sold under 500,000 copies. They've been saying that since like in the early 90s.
Right.
Okay, as many times on the Kissology stuff, they refer to this, we didn't even sell 500,000. After them saying this so many times, are you telling me they haven't sold 500,000 copies? Because people, you're going to say that over and over again. People are going to spark their interest. I'm going to go out and get that.
Right.
Definitely, I'm going to see what that is. So I find it hard to believe that album did not sell 500,000 copies.
I mean, you got to believe that all the Kiss advocates, probably have a copy of it though. So.
Oh, especially now.
But you're right. So like 500 under 500,000.
That's not even gold. That's not even gold, right?
But they've been saying this for
right.
25 years now.
But even back then, the hardcore Kiss fans would know this album was out. There's more than 500,000 Kiss fans, right?
Right, and you're talking worldwide.
Yeah,
This thing never sold more than 500,000.
That's intriguing.
And if you watch the Kissology documentaries, Paul Stanley comes up and says, he goes, it was a good album. It just wasn't a good Kiss album.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as soon as you're going to say that, people are going to rush out and go buy it. You're giving them like, whoa, it's good. He claims it's good.
Right.
Another thing is that what I found to be kind of interesting in this was the cover of the album. It shows a wooden door, a hand getting ready to knock on the knocker of a wooden door. Well, there's claim that this picture was taking place in New York City. It was long rumored that it was located at Park Avenue United Methodist Church in Park Avenue in New York City, that they actually took the picture without authorization of using the church. Okay, Bill Aucoin, the manager, says no, that this was a prop, although there was a picture taking of Paul Stanley's actual face, face without makeup at the time, going up to his hand, and and taking a picture of it. So
Was that maybe a joke though? I mean, are you sure it's not Peter Chris's hand? Since they wanted to put him everywhere anyways. So
well,
But-
like I said, this was Eric Carr's first album, but there's a claim that this door is at the United Methodist Church in New York City.
okay.
They didn't ask for permission to use it. Now they're saying it was a prop. So
What was the result of that?
nobody really ever knows.
Nothing.
There might have been some legal heat that came down
Oh,
from
I'm
that.
sure there was.
I want to think maybe like the Kiss fans probably maybe find this church, and there's I'm sure if you go on Instagram or something, maybe I don't know, since the music's not, the CD's not that popular, but I'm saying maybe somebody recreates that. I mean, I know a lot of people that like to go recreate stuff.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there's copies of that kind of picture other. People like to do the Abbey Road picture when they're in England and all that. Or whatever, but hey, you never know. So that there could be some truth. I mean, but no, there was nothing ever much out of it afterwards.
No, and the other thing that I forgot also to put besides the artwork in here is that what has been told here is when the recording of this album actually happened it was in total secrecy. The only people that heard any music from this was the members of Kiss and Bob Ezrin himself. It was even leaked out to any. The Casablanca records or anything under that. Nobody knew what it sounded like. It wasn't first heard until it was completely finished, and they let somebody.
Wow.
And they said, "What a train wreck!"
Right.
Really?
Maybe that's why I didn't want nobody here.
Right.
Anyway.
So I mean, here's the thing: is that my thing is okay. It came out in we said 81. Okay, that was when it was supposedly came out. All right. It did terribly, but now there's all this information about the album now it came out because it didn't sell. Now they're giving you all these different little tidbits about the album of supposedly it was the album was the picture was taken in front of the church, all these other little things that went along with it. You got to believe that all these little things that are coming out about it now, 30 some odd years later, that they've sold their 1 million copies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's. I don't know. I think after a while, you guys probably attest to this too. You start when there's a band that like everybody loves, and there's always that one record that most people don't like. The hardcore fans are ones that I think that that's their best record.
Right.
Like Motley Crue is self-titled, and Generation Swine. Mm-hmm. I think that's two of their best records. Most people hate that record. Hate both those records.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think there's huge Kiss fans that probably think that's probably one of their best ones. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that with with Dynasty and stuff like that. But I mean, like when you're like a major fan of a band, you get sick and tired of hearing the same, songs over and over and over again. So you always go to something else. Like my favorite band is Guns N' Roses, and I get sick and tired of hearing Appetite. I've heard it so many times it drives me up the wall. I'll still listen to it every once in a while. But I'll listen to Use Your Illusion 1 or 2 before I'll listen to Appetite, and that's like their crowning achievement. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Well, same thing with this Warrant disc. Casual fans, Cherry Pie is like best thing ever did or whatever.
Right.
And I think it's the worst one. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's just kind of. I think you're gonna have some serious Kiss fans like your buddy Eddie Trunk. He loves that disc. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's a huge ass Kiss fan, and he thinks it's great. It's just
he's a huge Kiss ass, right?
Yeah,
Is that what he is?
right. Pretty much, yeah.
Well, and me being who I am, and maybe maybe I forced myself back when I was 18 or 19-year-old at the time saying this was my favorite album. The Elder was because I didn't want to like anything that anybody else liked. I was tired of Detroit Rock City and
Well, and that's the whole thing right there.
So that's the big thing. That is the big thing. Is like I truly thought that this album was the best just because I had never heard it. It was fresh. It was buried.
Different. So, so that's not something you're going to be able to easily find at any record store.
I think you can find it's a little bit more easily found now.
Especially with the internet and stuff. You can probably find on eBay 99 cents. $5 shipping or something.
I'm sure.
You know what I mean? But it just all depends.
I mean, how do you think this would have fared these days now with all the electronic and leaking and, easy access to computers and stuff? You think it would have been as secretive?
No.
It would have been out.
No.
I mean, like now it's so easy to hear stuff that doesn't come out for like another year.
Yeah,
I mean, just to think about, I mean, we're not going to change the subject here, but look at how easy it was to find Chinese Democracy 5 years before it ever came out.
Yeah. I heard most of that record before.
Oh, I heard the whole thing.
Yeah, there's I think there's like one song I never heard.
Now, when it comes to that, like as a different little topic, do you think maybe listening to something before it comes out like takes away from the album, or are you still going to pick up the album regardless of
I
what it sounds like?
I was at Best Buy on that morning when the Chinese Democracy came out.
Yeah.
I had listened to that album on a pirated copy for 2 years in my car before it ever came out, but I was still there to buy it.
Yeah,
so.
see, I'm kind of the same way though. Like, well, let's be music guys. I mean, I'll be damned if my iTunes account is going to have more music than my actual collection. I still buy CDs every week. I'll go out and buy something. Something new or whatever. If it would have, it might have. If that got leaked, maybe nobody would have bought it, and then it maybe never would have came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if they would have had the backlash then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows?
Well, I mean, and I'll switch it up because I actually wouldn't mind my stuff being on iTunes, but that's because, I mean, I'm not as much as a collector like maybe Nesbitt is or you guys with discs. Don't get me wrong, I love to find a great disc here and there, but, I would definitely, I'm more for being able to have access to the whole catalog of anything,
right.
Whether I want to listen to, Van Halen or Weezer, which are my personal preferences. But, like, I'd like to have it at my disposal, but I would love to have the CDs. But, I just, there's things out there that I don't want to, I may not have time to search for or stuff that you guys like to find. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that because that's not, I'm not a pro at that or anything.
Well, I mean, it's like, I like tangible things.
Yeah. Definitely.
I like, to be able to open this up and,
read the lyrics.
Yeah.
And still, even though, the artwork, you can actually look at it, read the little story behind what they thought it was supposed to be, at the time. These are things, this is the reason why I still buy stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
like, my favorite thing to do is first thing I buy a CD, the first time I actually get, I don't know if you're the same way, but, like, when I buy stuff, I have a stack of stuff I still haven't listened to. It just sits until I can get to it.
Yep.
First thing I do when I get some alone time, throw it in, bust out the booklet, and I just read along with the lyrics as I'm listening to it. That's one of my favorite things to do still, to this day. Crack open beer, sit down, turn it on,
just enjoy
blast
it. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. I'm a comic book collector, so I have a stack of stuff that I haven't read.
Exactly.
That I will get to read, whether there's music on in the background or not, but I understand the listening of the CDs. I had a nice record store Black Friday this past year, so I was really ecstatic with what I got and what I decided to buy and whatnot. So I mean, it's cool to do that kind of stuff, and it's cool when you can find albums like Belly to Belly or From the Elder or Them, which is great. So I mean, I learned there was a lot of, I mean, practically everything you had said about both of these albums, all new to me. So, and it gets me excited from the stuff like what was that, Saints from the
Saints of the Underground.
I'm excited to listen to that and some of this other stuff. So, so really this is what it is. It's so cliche because people are like, oh, music is life. It really is a lifestyle, and I think getting people together like Jake and Nez and myself is a good idea. And there's a million and one of these things out here, but they're not all for everybody. Like there could be those guys from that metal show that might have one, or the your face is excellent, or guys that host MTV shows that have to put on the front that they may not like the stuff they post. So maybe Carson Daly likes to actually listen to metal or something, so satanic metal. So that's what we are doing here, and I'm glad to be a part of it. So I think this is a pretty solid first episode. I'm all for it. You can find us online, the
Quad City music lovers, CD collectors, and traders.
And traders, yeah, and post suggestions and stuff like that. I mean, I'm open to anything, and we are here too. And if you even want to join and partake, please get a hold of us. And I hope this is going to be the last one. I don't think
absolutely.
I hope it kind of takes off. Honestly,
yeah,
it'd be
if it
kind
does,
of fun to see if it goes.
And another thing is that what we want to reiterate to everybody that listens to this is we missed out on a lot of things tonight about these albums, and if we're not pretending like we're experts, and we're not going to play the game stump the whoever because we're so smart and we're so intelligent. We're not. We're going to give you what we know, And if we miss some things, let us know. And then please come on. We'd love to learn from you, and we'd love to listen to stories about it.
And I don't want, and it's not going to be limited. We're going to try to cover everything. I know there's some stuff maybe Nez or Jake might not like. I maybe throw on some AFI. I know you know.
Hey,
are you down with that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay,
Black
because
cells?
this guy. Oh, thank you. Yes, that is my favorite. But I know Nez likes to give me some looks when I talk about Davey every once in a while. But again, we're not limiting it. We're gonna try to be open to everything.
Hey, so long as Davey stays a guy and quits trying to be a hot chick and somebody else.
Hey, no, he looks like a badass nowadays. But yes, I will admit that the 2007 era was kind of. But anyways, no, we'll open it up to that. We'll open it to AFI. We'll Genesis maybe. We'll some New Order or Billy Idol or something, anything. So I hope you guys like this. I hope you listen, you share, do all that stuff. We're gonna get this loaded so quick so that way we can kind of keep going with it because I'm ready for another episode. So I hope you guys will join us here at the Hodge Park Studios. Jake Turner, we have Jake Turner here. We have Eric Nesbitt, and I am Victor Martinez. And hopefully you guys give us a listen and a like and a share. So thanks for joining us.
Sweet. Rock and roll.
Probably.